Episode 15 of Cady's Corner, ready to roll here, presented by Godzilla Media. But real quick, want to talk to you quick about a couple of sponsors we got. First off, SeatGeek. If you're checking out the YouTube version of the show, you'll see SeatGeek mentioned at the bottom of the screen. It's very simple. You want to go to concerts, go to any sporting events, not tonight's Syracuse Mets game because those tickets are sold out. Good luck on that because the price. If you find any third party ticket prices for Jacob DeGrom starting, they're gonna be sky high. But anyways, if you're looking for any concerts, sporting events, whatever that you want to spend your summer out with the family, go to SeatGeek.com. Any ticket purchase of $50 or more, just use the promo code GOZ. That's GOZ. Get yourself $20 off those tickets. Again, SeatGeek.com. Any ticket purchase $50 or more, use the promo code GOZ. GOZ. Get yourself $20 off your tickets. Also, don't forget this Saturday night. Albany Empire back in action for National Arena League football, taking on the Orlando Predators, and is their special breast cancer awareness game. And if you go check out AlbanyEmpireNAL.com to get your tickets for this weekend's game against the Predators, every ticket purchase, $5 from each ticket will be donated to the Cancer Support Services of Two Life. So again, the Albany Empire Pink game this Saturday night at the MVP Arena in downtown Albany against the Orlando Predators. For tickets to help raise funds for breast cancer awareness, go to AlbanyEmpireNAL.com. That being said, what's up? Episode 15 of Cady's Corner. I'm Brian Cady. The Twitter handle at Brian Cady, BRIANCADY. And as we've been doing over the course of the last, about month and a half or so, we typically have a representative from the Amsterdam Mohawks from the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League joining us on the show. And this week, we have, I would say, probably the most entertaining figure that we're going to have. This is not any offense to anybody else on the squad or anybody else around the team, but this young man is certainly a good part of the entertainment for this team from the Pittsburgh Panthers. He's been a third baseman. He's been an outfielder. He's been doing a little bit of everything. One knowing Mr. Josh Overbeek. Josh, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Thanks for those kind words, Brian. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. The first off, before we get into your background and everything, I gotta bring up something.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just been recently or if I just was oblivious to it all season until recently. Where did the whole handstand thing come from recently that I've been noticing? Because I want to say I
Yeah.
saw you do it first, and then after the game on Tuesday night, it was like you and Cam Love, I think, was trying to do it or something. Like,
hmm
what's up with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So, I mean, in the dugout, we're always just trying to keep it loose. I get along with these boys very well. Ian Patrutz and Cam Love, they just kind of eat it all up too. And we definitely challenge each other a little bit, see who can hold it the longest. And it keeps things loose, and it's something you could always work on. I mean, who doesn't want to do a handstand? So that's kind of a little pregame thing we've been doing. It kind of warms up your arms, a little blood to the head action, kind of gets you going, and see who can walk on their hands the longest. So it's just a little uh, mess around, I guess you could say. So
Well, as long as you don't ask me or Barry to do it, everything's perfectly fine. Because I know I sure as hell can't do it in very well.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
yeah, that I wouldn't have Barry do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's just get into your background a little bit and what's led you to being with the Mohawks. First off, just going back, growing up as a kid, was baseball like always your first love? Were there other sports you had interest in growing up? What was that like?
Yeah, so I grew up, and from the time I was born, I had a baseball in my hand. My dad's dream for me was to be a switch hitting catcher, so I definitely fell into that really quick. Me and my dad and my little brother definitely put in hours on hours of work. I moved around a lot, so I was born in Dayton, Ohio, and then moved to Albuquerque, and then from Albuquerque to Boston, and then Boston to Michigan, and then eventually to Ohio back again. My dad was in the Air Force, so it was a struggle to get those hours of work to put in. From another sports standpoint, I started playing basketball probably early elementary school, and that was more just kind of for fun and to keep athletic. But I wasn't one of those kids that I dabbled with everything and was trying to figure out what I like. Like it was for sure always baseball, without a doubt. And it was kind of a relationship thing I had with my family. Like my family would come together, watch old Tigers games, being Tigers fans, and baseball was definitely just a getaway for us. So.
Now, before we get into the Tigers fandom, let's
Okay.
uh let's let's just rewind there a little bit because you mentioned, being part of a military family, your dad being in the Air Force. Was it tough on you at all? Constantly moving from place to place, not just from a baseball perspective, but just from the perspective of you're still a kid, you're trying to make friends, get used to different schools and all that, and you find yourself bouncing around a little bit. I mean, obviously, iron sharpens iron, so it makes you a little bit, tougher
Yeah.
skin and everything. But at the same time, was that difficult for you at all, as far as moving
Yeah.
from place to place like that?
Yeah. Well, first, I would like to thank all the vets out there. There's men and women out there doing stuff for this country that I can't even imagine, and I like to thank them. I know the Mohawks do a great job, appreciating them and showing the love for sure. So we appreciate you guys. From my standpoint, my dad served with the Air Force. He was a nuke physicist in the Air Force for about 8 years. Served a tour in Afghanistan, and I couldn't ask for any other childhood. Moving around, like you said, it definitely helped me make friends quicker. Helped me adapt to my environment a lot faster than most other people. And there was always something new to be done. Like moving from Albuquerque to Boston. I mean, that's about as far as you can get from each other, and just polar opposites. So I learned fast. I learned about the world quick, and I learned that there's people all over the place like you and different than you. And I can only thank I can't imagine what my mom went through. I can only thank her so much for what she did. But my dad served a tour in Afghanistan for 13 months, and she was alone taking care of me and my three other siblings. And it's something that I will always remember, and it's something that I'm very thankful for because the men and women that protect this country deserve way more than a thank you. And um, being a military kid and having that understanding for that, definitely I wouldn't ask for anything else. So it I had the best childhood I could ask for.
Well, I will tell you this one thing that is definitely correct. There is quite a difference between, I'm assuming, the lifestyle and the people you get in Albuquerque, and the
Yeah,
lifestyle and the people you get in Boston. Just a
way
little,
different.
just a little polar opposite. It's all good.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Uh, but let's go back to this Tigers fandom. Obviously, growing up, uh, you know, had some good runs with like a younger Miguel Cabrera, so Maglio
Yep.
Ordonez, just to turn it
Yeah,
back
those
into
were
winning.
early. Those were early. Yeah.
Um, Alex Avila, just to throw out another name. Justin
Victor
Verlander, obviously.
Martinez. Yep. Rick Porcello, Max Scherzer. I mean, we had the makes. We had the makes for a couple World Series teams. But happened to sell them all out and go. So it definitely was tough being a Tigers fan for a little bit. After we lost to the Giants, I want to say the Giants had our number, man. They had our number for a while. But yeah, I mean, being a Tigers fan now and a Cincinnati Reds fan, kind of living in Cincinnati and seeing that baseball with some older eyes, just it's been hard to root for those teams. But I'm gonna stick with them and keep hoping that the Tigers can bring in some more big names. I mean, Javier Baez now, that's definitely, I feel like he fits the city of Detroit very well.
Mhm.
He kind of brings that grit that they need, the Motor City. And I think they got something good going, and I think people better watch out because in about 10 years, when me and my buddies are rolling through, that's when we could be dangerous.
Now,
So,
I will say this: I do feel like the Tigers are going towards the right direction.
yep.
I think Scooball has a bright future. Torkelson, I mean, you can't go wrong
Oh
with
yeah,
Torkelson.
hard to beat, man. Hard to
Yeah,
beat.
they're,
I
they're
mean,
they're going the right direction. I'll give you that much.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if we could get back to that gritty Michigan Motor City kind of built from the ground up, and we're just hard nosed. I feel like that's the best way Detroit plays sports. I mean, you look back, you got the bad boys of the Pistons. You got. I mean, if you want to go to Michigan, you got the Fab Five, and then if you really look at those teams, I mean, they just truly embrace that they were different than everybody else, and that they're gonna play hard and they're gonna bang you up, and like they're gonna come out on top. And I think the Tigers and the Pistons, Red Wings even kind of get back to that. Maybe even the Lions too. The Lions definitely need that for sure. But yeah, if we could get back to that and embrace that, Detroit sports have a rich history. So
So there is another factor I just thought about that we need to touch on. As somebody who was born in Dayton and now eventually has just come out of Cincinnati,
Hmm.
Was it the brief time you were living in Michigan that brought on all this Michigan sports fandom, or?
Yes. Well, so my mom's from Saginaw and my dad is from Grand Rapids, and they both went to Western Michigan, where my dad played baseball. And so I mean, everybody bleeds blue. You know that everybody bleeds blue. So, yeah, I got that's where the background from Michigan comes. But living in Michigan was definitely cool, kind of finally understanding and seeing where my parents grew up and why I root for who I root for. So, yeah, it's just it's the blood, man. It's the blood. My family's all up there, and it's a great state.
I, I can't go wrong with that. That makes perfect
Yeah,
sense. Now that I know
yeah.
that. Um, Now let's get into now in high school. Obviously, you were lettering in both baseball and basketball, but your senior year at Anderson High School in Cincinnati was just freaking bonkers. You batted over
Oh yeah.
450, OPS over 1500, 8 homers, named to the All-State team. You were a Conference Player of the Year, and I could probably go on and on talking about
Hmm.
what you did as a senior in high school. What kind of looks were you getting at, and what ultimately led to your decision to become a Pitt Panther?
Yeah. So, high school was back and forth, especially with COVID happening my junior year. I was very thankful that I committed to Pitt before my junior year. I had some great people around me, and my summer ball team, the Midland Redskins, was definitely a big help. Some of the best baseball in America over there at Midland. And about my freshman sophomore years, when the recruiting process really started to pick up, and I kind of realized what I had. I continued to grind. I picked up about 13, 14 offers. And it came down to the Air Force Academy. Wright State was in there. I was thinking about Michigan. And then Pitt kind of came into the picture after watching me play in Jupiter. There's a big tournament in Jupiter, Florida, and they had been on me for a little bit, and they actually hadn't let me know. So they called me and they were like, "We want you to come out for a visit. We want to continue this process." And so I went out to Pitt, and everything just felt right. It's about 4.5 hours from my home in Cincinnati, which is close enough so my family can see me play. My brother can come up and kind of start getting a feel for what college baseball is all about, and it was just far enough away where I could feel like I had the space to make my own decisions, and be on my own. So that the space, along with the ACC and me seeing an opportunity to play as a freshman a little bit, and just it just felt right. Like it's a beautiful campus. It reminded me a lot of home, being a Midwestern city school. And then, yeah, obviously just being in the ACC and playing the best of the best is all I care about. So it fit, and I'm really thankful for my first semester there, kind of learning a lot in the fall, and then moving into the first season. And I'm ready to get back there and get to work and definitely show people that Pitt is the city of champions for real.
Eh, It's amazing you mentioned the ACC being attractive because I feel like when people think about college baseball, they automatically think of SEC and then maybe Big Ten and Pac-12. There's not too much thought put into the ACC, but if anybody paid attention to baseball this year, ACC was a stacked conference.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
we're talking Notre Dame, Louisville, Miami, just a nutty conference. How much do you feel like with the time you did get to play with Pitt this year?
Mhm.
How do you feel like that adjustment period was coming from your travel ball and from your high school ball to now facing D1 level pitching constantly every single time you went to bat? What was there any kind of transition period for you? Or did you feel pretty comfortable getting in there?
I want to say I felt really comfortable getting in there. I can playing for the Midland Redskins my 18U summer and being a part of Midland. I've been a host family my whole life. I've hosted a couple big leaguers, Zach Plesac. I know there's a couple other names, but I won't spend the time on that. But that program really helped me kind of understand what my competition is and what I'm going to see heading into the ACC. So I mean, our team was just straight nasty last summer, and the transition period was more the fall leading into the season, because like you said, we play all those big schools who are bringing in all these players, and you get to see like how college baseball works firsthand after not knowing anything going in, because they feed you that eyewash and just to get you there, and then once you get there it's up to you. So the transition period was definitely the fall heading into the season. And I felt ready to go. I felt that my body was where it needed to be. I felt that um, I had the free time to do what I needed to do to get my swing where it needed to be, to get my arm where it needed to be, and just that first semester in the weight room where you start to get your grown man strength a little bit as a freshman, and you get on a college weight program. That was part of the transition, so that was new. But when you look at your competition and you see that you're competing with grown men, 20, 22, 23, maybe even 24-year-olds, you got to be ready to go. And I felt like my childhood, like we spoke about before, and the travel team that I was with definitely helped me get to where I needed to go so that I could be ready when we had most of our lineup get hurt about, I want to say, a couple months into the season, probably after the first month. And I got my first start the Saturday game against Virginia. I got my first ACC start, and I felt ready to go. I got my first collegiate hit on Easter Sunday, and then went down to Miami and played every game and almost won the series. We lost in the 13th on Friday, and then lost Saturday, and then won Sunday. So I felt like I felt like we were all right there with them, and yeah, just it was a good season for sure.
Yeah, and this was a squad that built up some momentum, and you know, this explains how deep the ACC is because what really I think threw people off was the way the ACC tournament unfolded. It
Oh yeah,
was very interesting format, one that I personally never seen, which really drew me into want to watch the tournament personally. Um, but you guys went out as an 11th seed in this tournament. You knock off Georgia Tech, who was a 7th seed in your first game,
yep.
and then you knock off the number 2 seed Louisville,
Louisville
which
on a
gave you
walk off.
and it gave you an automatic berth right into the semis before losing to NC State, who would go on and end up losing in the championship in North Carolina. But like when you take a look at just the ACC tournament itself and what you're able to do against Georgia Tech and Louisville, and then be competitive with NC State as well, I mean, does it feel like it maybe gave you guys like, okay, we did this, we know we can do it. Now let's take that and move forward with it going into next season and beyond. Is that kind of what the general feeling
Yeah.
was coming out of that?
Yeah, before the season started, for sure, we didn't know how we were going to stack up. We were definitely one of the older squads, and as the season unfolded, we realized that when we showed up to play, we were one of the best teams in the nation, hands down. And I think the committee that votes on the rankings didn't quite agree with us, and I think a couple of our losses made us look worse than we were. So we definitely knew that we had the talent and the ability to go out and play together and beat some of the teams. I mean, we took two from Clemson. We took two from Louisville. We almost beat Miami. We had some notable wins. So going into the tournament, we knew that with our two guys on the mound, we were right there with any team in the country. But I mean, we fell short. Our bullpen was lacking in some areas. We didn't show up to hit sometimes, and that definitely is baseball, so it happens. But we knew where we needed to be, and we knew what we could do, and ended up losing to NC State, but shocked some people. So heading into next year with the guys that are returning, I have a feeling that there'll be a little bit better leadership this upcoming year, and that the Pitt Panthers are going to be a team to definitely look out for.
And speaking of relationships, I'd be remiss if I talked about your time at Pitt,
Mhm.
especially given the fact that he's on the Mohawks with you too. I didn't at least bring up Nick G. Marusti.
Yeah.
Um, you end up coming out of Ohio, the state of Ohio. He's from Illinois. Did you guys ever cross paths first off in travel ball at all?
Yeah, I feel like we crossed paths without ever meeting each other. We were always in the same place, right around the same time, at the same tournaments. I mean, I would think we would have probably played against each other without really even knowing. And then once we got to school and kind of were hanging out and getting to know each other, it's like, hey, we know a lot of the same people. We went to a lot of the same things. And it was kind of funny to kind of come together and realize I had a friend before I even had a friend. So Nick's a great guy, probably the fastest kid I ever met, and I'm sure you can account to that too. But yeah, he's a good dude, and I'm excited to see what he does and do what he has in his future at John A. Logan.
Yeah, I'd say Nick is pretty fast.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, pretty
yeah,
fast.
he's yeah. There's a certain play that I could reference, but if you, I'll have to explain another time because just it's a psychotic play, and I don't know how he scored on
Crazy.
it, but he still
I don't
scored.
know how he did it
Um,
either.
um. Now we mentioned the Mohawks earlier before we came on the air, and I guess the two pronged question becomes: A, what ended up leading you to the Mohawks?
Hmm.
Obviously, you and Nick came together, so that probably had a little bit to do with it. The fact that you knew you were going with somebody else as well that you knew or familiar with. But what made you choose the Mohawks, and what for you has made being a part of that team special to you over the last 2 months between just the training and all the community outreach that's involved with the team, and then obviously being able to play in front of the Amsterdam crowd?
Yeah, so definitely, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be in Amsterdam. I would not want to play for any other collegiate ball club in America, to be honest, because the Mohawks is where it's at. So, what led me here, I want to say I got a text last summer saying from my coaches at Pitt asking me where I wanted to play summer ball. And obviously any college baseball player is just going to say the Cape right off the bat because that's where we all strive to be and that's where you get looks from. And there's a lot of good ball players there. So obviously my answer was the Cape, and then after that it was like, I mean, I got no idea. So I kind of just rolled with the punches, hoping I was going to go to the Cape. But the season comes at Pitt, and I'm rolling, and I get told that I'm going to be an Amsterdam Mohawk, and I talked to a guy. I know you know CJ Funk. A lot of the people in Amsterdam know CJ Funk. So having a player at Pitt that played here last year definitely helped me. Kind of get a feel for what it was going to be like, even though what he said was all correct, but still didn't even touch on how amazing this place is. So it was kind of a shot out of the blue that, hey, Josh Overbeek, you're going to go be an Amsterdam Mohawk. And that really fired me up because I did a little bit of research, and the rich history of baseball at Shuttleworth, in Amsterdam, and in New York is just unbelievable. And so, yeah, it was kind of random choice. And I thank the Lord for putting me here and putting me with the great group of dudes, because here in Amsterdam, the thing that makes this place so special is definitely the people. From you, Brian, to Bob Scott, who shows up every day to talk to me and with a smile, to every player, to Coach Griffin, who is just a pure winner. Just he is here to win, and I'm glad I'm part of a team that has embraced that and really backed up Coach and understands. I mean, being 30-4, 31-4. I mean, this is one of the best teams I've ever played for, and the people here just get it. They understand. The community has backed this team up, and I couldn't ask for a better place to be.
You mentioned the record. You guys are on an 11 game winning streak. Um, Not mathematically yet, but we can pretty much say you guys have won the East Division title.
Yep.
We'll just basically call it as it is.
Yeah.
There's only like 14 games left in the regular season, and you're ahead by like 12 or 14 or something like that. So we'll just call it now. You've won the East Division.
Yep.
But like just through talking with you and Carson Catunia and Brett Coker, you all kind of just bring the same kind of answer and aura about this team, is that you all just, there wasn't like any egos or anything. You all just came together and was like, look, we're here to get better. We're here to win. So let's just go do it. Let's not BS one another here. We all want to get to the next level. We all want to improve. Is that just because I feel like this is because I've been around the team since 2019. I feel like this is the most unified group I've seen in my 4 years around the team. Is that basically the same way that you feel, as far as like everybody's on the same page, everybody has a common goal, and no matter what we
Mhm.
got to do, just go out there and work hard and do what you got to do to get the W?
Yeah. So I definitely believe that this is one of the most talented teams I've been on. So having the talent definitely helps. But it comes down to when you got good teammates, you got a good team. And these guys, like there wouldn't be a single guy on the team that I wouldn't go do something for. I would give my shirt off my back to any of these guys on the team, and I know they would do the same for me. And I think that's what makes us so special. It's just we all got each other's backs. Yesterday we had a player get ejected, and you know what? The team picked each other up and came up with some two big runs after a little bit of drama in the game, and we come out on top. So it's going to take a lot to beat us down the road, and just because I know that every single guy on my team has my back and is ready to go to fight with me against whoever. And whatever in life, it's a lot bigger than the game. I know I can count on these guys off the field as I can on the field, and I really think that's what makes this special. And definitely having a coach like Keith, he gets it and he's a winner, and having him have our backs as well is definitely something that I can testify to. And he's just a pure winner, and that's what these kids want to do. We're here to win, and we understand the assignment and understand that this is who we have each other, and that's it. So why not go be great?
Well, Griff is definitely a bulldog. I'll give you that
Oh
much. He's he's a breed unlike any other when it comes to coaches that I've ever met. Um, but real quick before I let you go, um, looking ahead, obviously you have the rest of this season to focus on immediately, but projecting forward, your sophomore year coming up at Pitt, one would assume, based on not just the fact you got playing time as a freshman, but also just your your transition through this summer and what you've been able to do and get more work in, get time at the plate, time in the field, both at the hot corner, third, as well as out in the outfield. What's the end goal you think? Like, are there any like immediate goals you're looking at going into your sophomore year at Pitt and beyond?
Yeah. So coming here, getting the reps that I need to get. This hasn't been the best summer for me, but at the same time that I haven't produced to where I need to produce, I've learned a lot about myself and a lot about the game this summer from my teammates and from coach. So I think that really has set me up to go into Pitt next year as being a sophomore, and to be a vocal as well as visual leader for these guys, someone for them to watch, someone for them to look up to, and someone that's going to lead them, like we said, even farther than last year's team. So I want to finish out this summer strong. I want to dogpile with this team and get a ring. And after that, I'm gonna keep busting through. I'm gonna get better every single day. That's what my goal is just to win every single day, and become the best baseball player that I can. Go through the fall, win every day, and be ready to absolutely tear up the ACC next year when it comes my turn to go.
And by the way, real quick before I let you go, two things. One, I appreciate the fact you're still in the parking lot at Shuttleworth because I can tell the dugout and the deck in the
Yeah.
background, so I
Yes,
can
sir.
see that. Number one. Number two, you mentioned the ACC. I'm going to drop a name for you. I'm not sure if you're going to be completely familiar with it. I'm pretty sure his senior year at Maryland was this past year.
Hmm.
Max Costas.
Okay. I think it rings a bell, but I can't put a face to a name right now.
Okay, he was he was the by far the team leader for the Mohawks for their last championship in 2019.
Hmm.
So, um, just do yourself a favor, go and look that up. I think that might provide a little extra motivation because you know, Maryland was a little disappointing this year. You guys were on the up; they were on the up and down.
Yeah.
Even yourself out with Max, and yeah, I got
What's
you.
his last name again?
Costas.
Costas, Max Costas. I got you. I'll do a little research.
All
We'll
right.
see if we can be a little better than that team.
Damn right. That being said, Josh, it's been great having you on. I really appreciate your time. I know we went a little longer than I expected, but I love the conversation. Obviously, you're a character and a half. You have amazing personality, so it's very easy to have this conversation. But Josh, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good luck, because I know tonight's the first of a home and home against Mohawk Valley.
Yep.
So
Yep.
go get the job done, and I'll see you tomorrow night. All right, man.
We'll do. Roll Hawks. I appreciate it, Brian. Thanks for your time as well. Thanks for letting me talk.
Yeah, not a problem, Josh. That was Josh Overbeek from the Amsterdam Mohawks, Pitt Panther. Like I said, Mohawks just rolling along. They've won 11 in a row going into tonight at Mohawk Valley, and they're home again tomorrow night against Mohawk Valley. That's a 6:35 first pitch. That's Friday, July 15th for those of you looking for a date stamp on what's going on. That being said, real quick, just want to talk about our friends over at Mohawk Honda. Listen, I've been talking about them all spring, all summer. They're just tremendous to go to at this point because they're the team that can help you find what you're looking for by not just searching their lot, but they'll search up and down the entire eastern seaboard, across New York State, into Mass, into Rhode Island, into Connecticut, wherever you want to, you need to get it. They need to look to get a vehicle that fits your budget and your lifestyle. They will do it. Plus, don't forget, this is really the perfect opportunity for you to trade in or sell your vehicle because it is a seller's market right now, because Mohawk Honda is buying cars right now, because right now the supply chain is still facing challenges, even though COVID isn't as much of a hamper anymore on the economics of the car industry. There's still some issues with the supply chain, which is creating a selling opportunity for you. And in some cases, you may be able to sell your vehicle for more than you paid for it. So why not go to Mohawk Honda, where they will make the buying and selling experience very easy, whether it's Cars with Kern Svoboda, Trust Trav Landry, Luisa VIP Man Morales, our boy C Mac, Cam McKenna, or just go right to the horse's mouth, the man in charge, General Manager Greg Johnson, because in Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road in Scotia, they want to buy your car, maybe even turn it into something that fits your lifestyle a little bit better, because they always go out of their way to please you. And that being said, let's get into the MLB real quick. Boston Red Sox, leading into the All Star break, they have one more game at Tampa tonight. Then they go to Yankee Stadium for a 3 game set before the All Star break. Real quick, Rafael Devers did get hurt during the series against the Yankees last weekend, and I haven't heard anything in particular about any update to the injury. I don't believe it was too serious. It looks like there's a big pressure, obviously, for them to sign Devers long term. So obviously, anytime you can get Devers to keep playing and do what you gotta do, it looks like Devers was only day to day, and I believe he's back in the lineup if I saw it correctly. But that all being said, that's kind of like uh, the thing that is not getting a whole lot of pub right now, just because of the fact that it's mid-season and nobody really wants to talk about it. Is the fact that you got to consider getting Devers done long term. And that's definitely something that's going to come up as the season progresses along. And I'm going to take a look at the box score real quick from last night's game in Tampa. Just double check and see what we're looking at with Devers. I believe Devers did play last night. Yeah, he's back in the lineup on 1 for 4, still batting 325. Rob Refsnyder's been really good for the Sox as well. JD Martinez still over 300. Bogarts is batting 314. So things are there. Jeter Downs has been productive, batting 270 or so. Um, the one update, though, Nathan Eovaldi went to AAA Worcester last Thursday, but he's set to come back and return for a start this weekend against the Yankees. They're projecting Friday as of right now. Let me take a look and see if that's still the projected time for him to begin. It's not official yet, but the last word on Eovaldi was they're looking at Friday tomorrow, which would be against Jordan Montgomery of the Yankees, and then right now Saturday looks like, let's see here, where are you? Pavetta against Tyone on Saturday. So um, they're pretty much just waiting to make sure that 100, with 1,000% certainty um, that Eovaldi is ready to go, but it looks like Eovaldi will get that start tomorrow against the Yankees, and obviously the All Star break starts after they play Sunday against the Yankees. Real quick, before we get into the New York side of Major League Baseball, got to remind you that this New York baseball segment is brought to you by our friends over at Johnstone Supply, where we keep charging through the summer, and you can definitely feel the heat as well as the humidity here in upstate New York. And if you want to stay cool throughout the rest of the summer, if you want to stay cool indoors, you call Johnstone Supply in Troy. Ask the team about their high efficiency central AC systems and ductless mini splits. They got Goodman, Fujitsu, and Westinghouse all in stock and at great prices. And hell, if you need somebody to help install that new system, Johnstone Supply is right there for you as well. You can talk to our boys Tom, Kev, James, Bird, any of them. They'd be more than willing to help out. Johnstone Supply, they're at 2600 6th Avenue in Troy, or you can give them a call, 518 272 5922. Get yourself a new AC system or fix your current one and stay cool throughout the rest of the summer by visiting Johnstone Supply in Troy, 2600 6th Avenue in Troy, 518 272 5922, or check them out online, johnstonesupply.com. New York Mets. They split four against the Marlins. They end up taking two out of three against the Braves. And now they begin a four-game series at Wrigley Field against the Cubs tonight. As things are, looking decent for the Mets. They're still about two and a half, 3 games, I believe, ahead of the Braves. It's just, and I've been saying this all along, it's about maintaining the course as far as things are concerned with waiting for DeGrom to get back. DeGrom threw 36 pitches over 3 innings last Friday at Class A St. Lucie. Like I mentioned at the start of the show when I was doing the SeatGeek promo read, he is slated to start tonight at AAA Syracuse. As long as he comes out of that start feeling good and looking good, he should be starting sometime next weekend after the All-Star break for the Mets. So keep an eye on that. Obviously, as was announced previously, Jeff McNeil went on paternity leave after this Sunday's game and missed the Atlanta series. They're hoping he'll be back either tonight or tomorrow for the Cubs, but we'll see what happens there. And also when Scherzer got called up, they DFA'd Chasen Shreve. Ends up getting his unconditional release. So goodbye, Chasen. Um, Starling Marte, day to day with a minor groin injury. But here's the crazy thing. So Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor are both having terrific seasons. They're making history. But Lindor does not get now. Lindor might get named as an alternate eventually, but he does not get in the All Star game, which to me just sounds batty. This is the kind of history I'm talking about. Lindor and Alonso, the first pair of MLB teammates with 60 running RBIs apiece this season, and the first pair of Mets to do that before the All Star break since Carlos Beltran and David Wright in 2008. Just freaking nutty, absolutely nutty. Um, like I can't even put into words how crazy that is, honestly. Um, Altogether, Alonso, McNeil, Starling Marte, Edwin Diaz were the four Mets named to the All Star game. Second career selection for all four of them, and it's the highest number of All Stars to represent the Mets since 2016. So that the special season keeps on going for the Mets and being represented properly in the All Star game, and maybe we get to see Lindor get added into that as well. And now we move on to the final team that we usually cover, the New York Yankees. I mean, they just keep on rolling. They got Judge, Stanton, Garrett Cole, Clay Holmes, Nestor Cortez, and Jose Trevino all go in the All Star game. Although it looks like Garrett Cole is starting Sunday against the Red Sox. So obviously that would pretty much mean Garrett Cole's a no-go Tuesday for the All-Star game. So I'll open up a spot for somebody else. Obviously, the big snub people are talking about, people are thinking Michael King should have gone. It's hard for middle relievers, man. It's just hard. In the meantime, as far as the actual competition, they split four at Fenway. It's better than losing 3 out of 4 getting swept. Let's just leave it at that. Some would argue it should have been at least take. I think it should have at least won 3 out of 4 based on how they blew the game. I believe it was on Saturday. Um, but there's nothing you can really do about it. So real quick, Giancarlo Stanton, by the way, going back to the All Star game for a quick second. There are 7 players in Major League Baseball history who've been voted in as all-star starters as an outfielder in the National League and American League. Stan's one of them. Here are the other 6, and you tell me which one of these things is not like the other. Frank Robinson, Dave Winfield, Ken Griffey Jr., Vladimir Guerrero Sr., Mookie Betts, and Jason Bay. Again, one of these things not like the other. I'll let you decide who that is. Finally, though, because it seems like the outfield is like the star attraction when it comes to the Yankees. Aaron Hicks continues to provide value. Matt Carpenter is doing tremendous. And it feels like the Matt Carpenter of old after going away for a year or two and kind of rediscovering his swing and rediscovering a proper stance. So, does this make Joey Gallo more expendable? Here's the tricky part. As much as I've talked on here about getting Andrew Benintendi, if Carpenter can keep playing at the rate he's been playing at, or somewhere around there, and Aaron Hicks can keep maintaining quality production, not necessarily batting 350 or 400, but like, quality, normal 270, 275, that I think decreases the need to go get Andrew Benintendi. Because obviously you have um, Judge Stanton Hicks, then Carpenter. That's four outfielders. Potentially LaCastro or Marwin Gonzalez as a flex. So that gives you a fifth option. Your infield, obviously, IKF, Donaldson, LeMahieu, Rizzo, um, Trevino and Higashioka behind the plate. So you have flexibility to work with a little bit here. Um, I'm not saying completely dismiss the idea of Andrew Benintendi, but while Carpenter does make Gallo more expendable, it doesn't necessarily mean anymore that you have to still go look for Andrew Benintendi or another outfielder of that ilk that's in the last year of a contract or has a cheap contract in general that you can bring in to take Gallo off the books. Um, I think if anything at this point, you maybe look for um, a potential arm for the bullpen or the rotation. But again, the All Star break is coming up. There's 3 weeks to discuss that. But that all being said, the Yankees end up taking care of business against the Reds, taking 2 out of 3 so far. They have their final game of the series tonight against the Reds before hosting the Red Sox for 3 Friday through Sunday, and then the All Star break. So that all being said, that wraps up Cady's Corner for this week. Thanks again to my man, Josh Overbeek from the Amsterdam Mohawks for joining the show. Next week, All-Star break edition of the show. Probably looking to get it out there a day earlier. Hopefully getting it out there on Wednesday instead of Thursday like normal. But we'll wait and see. Depends on how things pan out as far as me potentially getting a guest from the Mohawks. That all being said, hey, this is episode 15 of Katie's Corner presented by Godzilla Media. Sponsored by good friends over at Johnstone Supply in Troy, Mohawk Honda in Scotia, Glenville, SeatGeek.com, and of course the Albany Empire. Don't forget they're taking on the Predators this Saturday night against at MVP Arena in Albany. Orlando Predators, it's their breast cancer awareness game. Go to AlbanyEmpireNAL.com to see how your ticket purchase can help them raise funds for that. Enjoy the rest of your weekend of baseball and enjoy the All-Star break. And we'll catch you again next week right here